Thank you for joining us. Thank you for tuning in to this segment of Healers and Healing. The number one thing that prevents you from going bigger. If we are new to one another, if you haven't seen me or heard me speak yet, I'm Brighid Murphy. I'm a shamanic practitioner and a mentor, and I help healing arts practitioners to align with their fire so that they can take their work in the world. I offer Path to Power one on one programs. I offer shamanic training. I have a sacred training for healers that I have created. And I also am in the process of opening up a healers collective to help healers really take their work into the world. I'll tell you more about that after this healers and healing segment. So, in the last couple of weeks, I've offered a couple of series. The first one was amplifying your ability to hold space. And the second one was money and mindset. You can find the replays here in the group. They're sitting here. I tried to combine them for you. I chose today's topic because it is one that is a recurring theme over and over again for healers. And the topic is the number one thing that prevents you from going bigger. And I want to address it because it's misunderstood. And we've got a lot of people playing small right now. A lot of people who are waiting for something, a sign from spirit. I covered that in the other series. Waiting, and not putting their medicine out there. And we need all hands on deck for the expansion right now. We need all hands on deck to expand the energy of the consciousness right now. And so, if you are called to assist people, if you're called to help the planet, you're not helping anyone if you can't step into your mission. You're helping no one by staying in the shadows. And we've got a lot of things that aren't coming out that need to come out right now. We have folks who are not saying what needs to be said to their families, to their communities, to the police, to the spiritual leaders. We've got folks who are not creating boundaries for themselves because they're afraid to get hurt, because they're afraid to lose friends, because they're afraid to be judged and afraid to be isolated. And we've got folks who are not starting businesses, healing businesses, because they're afraid they'll look like they don't know what they're doing, because they're afraid that they don't want to cause ripples, because they don't want to risk losing people close to them if they really show who they are. We've got people who are not starting businesses because they just don't have the information that they need to make it happen. And so I can't tell you how many people who are Reiki practitioners who are not offering Reiki sessions. They're not offering healing touch sessions, crystal therapy sessions, sound healing sessions. You name it, you name the healing arts practitioner, and I've seen them. And they're not offering it. You're not offering your stuff. We need you to. And that's because they're afraid. People are afraid. It's because you've got imposter syndrome. It's because you might be found out for not knowing things. And also, people are afraid that they just need one more modality. If I just learn one more thing, I'll be able to do it. Recently, and in preparation from a healers collective, I have been talking with people about their process, asking questions like, what holds you back? Why are you not taking this work that you've been doing for 10 years out into the world? And I ask people, what is the biggest obstacle that holds you back from going forward? And here's what I heard. Confusion, not knowing what to do, shame, guilt, and fear. And there's so many things that come under the fear, but that shame, guilt, and fear are huge. I also heard that from people that they're not able to let go and trust. And I also, so those are the main things. A lot of it has to do with fear that can hold people back. And I recognize that there are many reasons that we don't, we won't, or we can't. Many reasons we don't, we won't, or we can't. And all of the responses of people that I talk to, healers that I talk to, fall into these three categories: don't, won't, can't. And through my research, both just now interviewing and talking with people who are healers who want to take their work into the world, and also over my last very many years of doing this work. So I've been doing healing work, hands-on healing work, shamanic healing work, counseling work, all the work for about 25 years. I know that might seem unreasonable, but I started super wicked young. So healing, I learned my first official healing modality at 22. I'm 47. It's been a long time. 25 years of working with people. Been doing this work professionally and getting paid for it for 10 years. And specifically in the last 7 years, I've been studying online marketing, and I've been working with healers, specifically healers, and I've noticed obstacles that are universal. And that's what caused me to create this particular segment of Healers and Healing. So I want to share some of the main influences that hold you back. You're probably, whether you're live or listening to the recording, you're probably going to resonate with this. Big imposter syndrome, someone just said. Yeah, big imposter syndrome. I love to get into the imposter syndrome. All right, so the first thing that holds you back from taking your work into the world is trauma. Trauma is at the bottom of so much, and it puts you in a cycle of smallness. It traps you in smallness, and it won't let you out of the cycle. I address that all the time. Then there's another main influence, and that is that you don't know what to expect when you're taking your work into the world in a professional way. And every time there's an obstacle, you think it's a sign to stop. See that all the time. Oh, no, they didn't go so easy. It's definitely a time to stop, because those obstacles come up and they kind of like lock arms with the imposter syndrome and the I'm a fraud and I don't know enough. And then there's this like chain of reasons why you just should not be doing this, right? So once you get in and start like working toward what you want, you start to know that the obstacles are all part of the game. They're all part of what's supposed to happen, and you learn how to work with them. I've learned this over time by working through my own obstacles and by helping other people work through theirs. Then you start to anticipate, like, oh, this is happening because I want to up level. Got it. And then you either stay there, you go around that rotary, or you move past it. And usually people don't move past it without help. I talk to people who've been in the same cycle for 20 years. It's a big one. All right, so these are all things that prevent you from going bigger. And they're all of the reasons that we don't, or there are reasons that we don't, we won't, or we can't. And until you find someone to help you move past these, you go around the rotary, you go around the circle, and you never finish that project. You always trip yourself up and sabotage yourself. You don't take any risks. As a matter of fact, as soon as there's a risk that comes up, whoa, the risk manager comes up and says, no, you can't. So no risks happen. Maybe you've been there. Maybe you've experienced this. Maybe you know what I'm talking about. If you're a healer who wants to take your work in the world and know you should be serving, you're very familiar with what I'm talking about. Yeah. So this is all common stuff that I see all the time. And so the topic of this talk, the number one thing that prevents you from going bigger, here it is, folks. And I've been doing this for a while. I'm not pulling this out of some la la land because it sounds spiritual. This is the damn truth. The number one thing that holds you back is that you are not in a good relationship with the part of yourself that's causing you to be afraid. Let me say that again. The number one thing that holds you back is that you are not in a good relationship with the part of yourself that's causing you to be afraid. You might not realize that that part needs your attention. You might not realize that by trying to ignore it or let it go, it's going to drag out forever. The I gotta let it go drags out for decades, people. And you might not realize that you have a risk manager, a part of you that is managing all the risks. Usually they come from trauma or bad experiences, and they have a reason for being there. You might not realize that the risk manager is doing all of this for a reason, and that probably don't realize that by learning to negotiate with this risk manager that's connected to your fear, you can actually finally be free to move forward. You just might not know. Most people don't. They're busy doing these like positive mind techniques and positive thinking. And don't get me wrong, positive thinking is good. They're doing like letting go, waiting till they move past stuff. Meanwhile, that risk manager is going at it and it's never addressed. So, this is the kind of work that I do with people. My people go from being victims of their fear to being empowered to negotiate with their fear. And I show them how to do it. And anybody who's on this live or anybody who's watching the replay, and you've done this work with me, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and you can feel free to comment because I know that you have experienced it. So I've got a lot of talented healers in my circle, a lot of talented healers in my circle. Healers who've been going around in the same story for years. And the story doesn't go away on its own. There's probably many of you out there who are in the same boat. You take all the free classes. You're in all the free groups. You absorb it all. You read all the books. You do another modality. You get the next level in the modality you're currently in. But you haven't invested in getting help to move past this because maybe you didn't even realize you needed to. And I'll be honest, I didn't know that this was a thing. I didn't know it was a thing until I realized it was a thing. And until I started investing in myself to get past what I needed to get through with people who knew how to do this. And it opened up a whole new world. I hadn't realized that I was protecting myself from taking the risk of being bigger. I didn't know that. And once I invested in some help, everything changed and I was really able to get free. And once I got free, I learned that I could still have all the stuff that I have and just change my relationship with it and keep moving. And then I could really reach people who needed me. And then I could be free to do my work and free to say, yes, 100%. I'm in my purpose is activated, and I'm in alignment with my soul. And I can say that wholeheartedly because that's where I'm at. And the work is actually bigger than I thought it was going to be because I couldn't see from the limited lens that I was looking through. But I had to be willing to come out of the shadows to get help. I had to be willing to come out of the shadows and say, yeah, I could use a hand, and be ready and willing to show up for it. So there you have it, like right there, in a nutshell. And I've covered a lot, even though it didn't take that long. Quick recap on the 3 things that influence you to stay small. 3 things that influence you to stay small. First thing is trauma. It keeps you small and it puts you in a cycle. Second thing is that you think obstacles are assigned to stop. Third thing is you got no one to walk you through it and nudge you forward. And the number one thing that prevents you from going bigger is that you have not learned how to negotiate with your fear or your risk manager. And once you do, you will be able to be set free and take your work into the world and serve the people who are waiting for you. Whew. Thank you. Thank you for joining me for this series and this segment. This was the number one thing that prevents you from going bigger. So I want to take questions in a minute. Laurie said, yes, you find those hidden parts and big shifts happen. You have had some huge shifts just over the last year, Laurie, and you keep showing up. You keep showing up for it, and that's why. So if you are a healer who is wanting to move into your purpose, like fully move into your purpose and really start serving the planet, if you have been in the shadows, you know it. I'm calling you in. I'm calling out to you and I'm calling you in. You know, I learned all this stuff because I had to. I know that sometimes I make it look easy, but I've been doing this for a while. I had been doing healing work for 18 years, and not charging very much money for it. Sometimes not even charging at all. 18 years. And then I was guided to go bigger. And I had no desire to become a business owner. I just wanted to help people, damn it. I just wanted to help people. No desire to be a business owner. I had to learn how to do what I'm doing right now. Shit fell apart for me. I went into credit card debt, big credit card debt, because I couldn't pay my bills, because I left my full-time job to do my healing work, and I thought the universe would just provide for me. I'll talk about that in another segment in this series. And it was a mess. And let me tell you, like, I am the biggest positive thinker in the world. I did all the things, read all the books. I Louise Hay'd myself for like a decade. If you've been around for a while, you know who Louise Hay is and you know what that means. If not, we'll have a conversation about it. So I realized after all of this that I'm in credit card debt. I'm supposed to be taking my work in the world, what's happening. I realized that I need to do something different. What I was doing wasn't working. And I realized I needed to invest in training to sustain myself. And I had no idea how to do that. So I had been following somebody online for a while, and they were teaching how to do marketing, they were teaching how to market yourself. And the way that they were talking felt genuine and authentic to me. And that's why I leaned in. And they were offering a program. I did not have money for this program. And that's often where healers don't have money to up level, but they need to find it somewhere to get to the next level. My gut said do it, and I didn't have the money. I found the money. I made it happen because my gut told me to do it. And it did. And it changed everything. And it set me on a track. And ever since then, I have been using every single thing that I've learned to help other people get to where I am. And I want that. I want that for you. I want you to be able to take your work in the world because we need you now, not 10 years from now. Because what you do now is going to turn the tide for the future. And the healers and the way showers and the luminaries need to be on board. And so, organically growing your business by word of mouth is fine. It works just fine. It works super fine if you have another source of income. It works super fine if there's no rush to take your work in the world. It works super fine if you have a huge savings and if you're comfortable where you are. And if you're a healer who really wants to step into a healthy relationship with money so that money flows like a river instead of stops at a clogged dam. If you want to actually sustain yourself, if you want that, I want to help you. I honestly, wholeheartedly want to help you. And so that's what I'm doing. I've opened up a Healers Collective so that I can teach about 15 people exactly how to do this. There are 10 folks who are already enrolled, and I've got 5 spaces open. So let's get all hands on deck here, folks. Let's do it. Let's stop suffering in order to help people. That's not the way it's supposed to roll. I'm fully self employed. I don't have a partner supporting me. I don't have some other source of anything. I need to plan for everything in my life, and it's up to me. And as a healer, I have to be in integrity with the business aspect and the working with people aspect. I have to be in integrity with my gifts and my business, and I've learned how to do it. And right now, I'm able to really be of service in my community because I'm resourced. I'm able to reach more people and do what I came here to do because I'm resourced. And the beautiful thing is, once I said yes to a program that would help me and then learned how to do this in a good way, I learned that my work is bigger and that I can go into places that I never thought I would. But I had to say yes. I had to say yes. So if you want to be in that spot and you want to do the same and you're ready to say yes, if you want to be valued and resourced for the work that you do, Healers Collective is a 6-month program, step by step, start to finish. I'm going to teach you how to value your work. I'm going to teach you how to talk about what you do. I'm going to teach you how to charge and feel good about it. I'm going to teach you to move past the obstacles that come up. And I'm going to teach you how to negotiate with your fear, because you're going nowhere if you can't negotiate with your fear. All of this in a group of super supportive healers. And if you've never worked in a group before, you move much faster in a group than you do by yourself. So I'm offering this, we start in January, at a really wildly unheard of opportunity and deal. Groups like this, what I'm starting, are essentially masterminds. And if you've heard that word, you understand that masterminds help you move faster. And there's usually a pretty hefty investment to join a mastermind group. It's usually about $1,000 a month on average. Yes, that's true. Look it up. It's a real number. I've been studying this a long time. I'm not offering it for that. This Healers Collective is not anything you'll find anywhere else. Nobody's offering this. I've looked. And you'll never find it at the investment that I'm offering it now. This is the first cohort this year, the one that starts in January. And I want to get as many people in right now because next year it's going to double, because I do recognize the value of this. And I'm known to offer things at a wildly good rate, because that's who I am. So the regular registration for this is $19.97. So it's about $2,000. Not $2,000 a month, $2,000 in total. $19.97 in total for a 6-month program. It will double next year. That's the regular registration. The early rate is $14.97. That's the early rate, $14.97 for the whole 6-month program. Yes, there's a payment plan. And that rate is open to anyone who has already scheduled a consult and is enrolled, or anyone who schedules a consult today and registers themselves by Friday. So schedule a consult, commit to it, and register by Friday. You don't have to pay it all up front, although there's a bonus if you do. So I only want folks who are aligned with this. So the next steps for you are to set up a time to talk with me, and we'll find out what your goals are. And I'll let you know if this is going to move you forward or not. I spoke to somebody a couple days ago who just was not a good match because she had no idea what she wanted to do at all. And every time I tried to ask her about it, she just would change the subject. Most people know what they want to do. They just have to get clear on it. But I'll tell you if you're a good match. I'm not just trying to get everybody in here to fill it up. If I was, I'd be charging way much more than I am charging for this. Anyway, if you know you're ready to know exactly, if you're ready to know exactly what you need to do to move past your blocks so you can create a business and a practice that's aligned with your soul, set up a time to talk with me. Don't wait on this, because enrollment is only open for the rest of this week. after enrollment closes, I continue to get ready to prep for the beginning of our start. It's open through Friday. Enrollment is open through Friday, and everyone who registers by Friday can get in at the early rate, and we start in January. Happy to answer questions if anybody has them. I'll drop a link for a free consult. Be sure to reserve one today so that if you're a match and this is a good fit for you, you'll get the early rate. And I will wait for any comments in here. I'll wait for your questions. Someone said that they were nervous and excited about the program. That's absolutely normal. It's normal to be nervous and excited. I'm always nervous when I join a new program. And it's totally okay. A little nervous is good. Thank you for mentioning that, Christine. If there are any other questions or comments, just ping you can pop them in here. If you're watching the replay, you can pop a question in. Make sure you find the link. It's going to be in this feed. I might even put it in the top too. All right, doesn't look like there are any more questions. Wait another minute. I've managed to keep this under half an hour. I try to keep them short. I like to deliver information and then let you go on with your day. All right.